Hello. Mental health is making me go merry-go-rounds with am I going to make a video, am I not? But obviously I am. I'm struggling to deal with myself because, in truth, the effects of the medication is having a strange effect on the depression. And I think what it does, from my experience of myself, it makes you experience it on a physiological level, while somehow blocking out the element in your brain that would feel the depression. And that's the most painful thing, because the way I deal with depression is just the opposite of that. It's to feel the depression mentally and see it mentally and keep the body healthy. And it just seems the opposite. But anyway, I won't dwell there too long, because what I'm having to do is recalibrate now. When is appropriate to make a video? Why am I making a video? And because it's like everything's changed, not just from the medication. It is everything, and I'm just doing my best to stay focused and with it all. But it was just like now, it's almost like my body, it's like where hospital tired me out. It exhausted me. The first time I've been exhausted for a while, so in a way it's a good thing. But it's almost like I need to rest in depression. It's like when I rest, I can feel the physiological effects of depression on me. I don't necessarily feel mentally depressed. It's almost like materialism. It's like feeding the depression material things so the depression goes away. And it's just so against how I've learnt to deal with depression. I guess I'm going to have to recalibrate. So the external consciousness that's trying to be my mental health at the moment, when I say external consciousness, I don't have any problem stating it that way. It's how I view it from my spiritual I'm sorry, I'm doing two things at the same time. From my spiritual perspective, and in my own honesty towards my mental health, what am I experiencing? What does it feel like? In everything you know, Andreas, what's your honest assessment of it? My honest assessment of it is that it's an external consciousness that's doing this. I'm not sure exactly when this external consciousness decided to come on board as opposed to a previous one. How long I've been fighting for, I'm not sure. I'm just always fighting, so it's hard to tell. But it's annoying because I thought I had depression down. I thought I had it in control. And that's a big statement, you know, just not in control, you're never in control of it, but I had a system of how to deal with it, and it's like everything's changed. And I know where I am is unhealthy. I know where I am is unhealthy. And I know where I am, touching on my spiritual perspective and my psychosis a little bit more. It's a lot more reflective of what I feel from others. It's almost like a vaccine for depression. It's like, right, today is Saturday and it's Sunday, I know, but I say Saturday because I'll get onto why I said Saturday in a second. But today is Saturday, and today we're going to make it a fun day, all the while feeding you depression underneath. So you get to grips with what depression feels like, but you manage to stay on top of it with things, with another drug. Now I'm in a bit of a tough situation because that other drug, due to my mental health disorder and due to my spirituality and due to who I am, I have to stay on top of as well. Now what's happening is I'm getting on with life at the moment, staying practical, but something's coming in on top of where I am being practical and superseding my decision making and saying, right, you're not doing it because of that, you're doing it because you want to I guess my practicality has been affected. So that's what I've got to look at, to stay absolutely practical. Yeah, I guess that was that. What I was going to speak about, and I don't care if this is going to turn into a 45-minute video, an hour video, I'm just not bothered. I remembered why I make these videos, and that's good enough for me. It's given me a certain element of peace where my mental health has been bugging the hell out of me with it. So what's happening is what I was speaking about earlier on the earlier live stream. With all the change, blah blah blah, I'm having to go back to a work mentality. So everything has got to be in order first, because there is stuff to do. There's not time to chill. There's things to keep me busy now, solidly, for the next few months at least. And for that reason, I'm like, okay, let's get out of rest mode and let's get into work mode. But this is where I'm having to rejig my life live, because this is a big rejig. Where I am when I'm in work mode is I'll take on the world and I don't care who gets in my way. No one's going to stop me. It's not I'm Andreas, but I'm working, and I know how to work. That's my mentality. But what's happened is, in the past few years, I've been honest with myself where I am with my mental health, where my disability is, and rejigging myself towards society in an appropriate way. And that's what you've seen with the videos over the past year. That's me being honest. That's me saying, look, this is me. Given everything, given life, given my mental health disorder, given the last 10 years, I'm not going to hide it anymore. There's nothing for me to deny it. I have a serious mental health disorder. And the way people interact with me, not because of my mental health disorder first, but because of the way I've been interacted with over the past 10 years. Yeah, due to my actions, in the confusion, possibly. But either way, I've been left, and I've been left quite alone. And for whatever reason, I'm just rejigging myself to society, because I came out, first of all, and it was a testing the waters. Is it safe? Is it appropriate to restart this relationship? What would it take for this relationship to be possible? What, given what I have to experience as my mental health disorder, is actually possible in all these relationships? And the answer wasn't what was there before. And I tried to come out on, try it a different way. Try to just make contact, put myself out there with Facebook, and yeah, the response was none. I mean, I got some response, some messages from afar, and possibly that's it. Possibly in truth, that's where I found myself. As a result of my mental health, in my sincere attempts as Andreas Dimitriou in putting myself there first, the response I got back, which was cold on the whole, and few and far between, there were some people that, probably one person that was more communicative than everyone else. But on the whole, I find myself alone as a result of my mental health. And that's just the circumstance. So before, when I was in work mode, I had ambitions of life and rest and peace. These things aren't there anymore. And I've got to go back into work mode. And life wants me to go back into work mode. So I've got to say to myself, what do I do? Because I know I can work. Do I just compartmentalise work as work? Sorry, these laughs, these smirks, they're false because I'm weak. I think it's due to the medication that's made me weaker there, or the exhaustion. But it's not a true expression at present. So if I do laugh, please acknowledge that. I'm trying to figure out how to go back to work. That mentality. Because what life showed me was, when I tried to do it before, I push, I fight, I give everything. And it showed me that I can't do it that way, because it can all too easily cut me down if I go at it with the wrong speed and pace and energy. So this is what I'm trying to establish. What is the right speed, pace and energy to go at work at? What of my mental health disorder do I take into account, given that my understanding is that you're not meant to feel sorry for yourself, so you're not meant to give yourself anything, so to speak. You're not meant to cut yourself any slack. And I don't think, I mean, at the moment it's a real difficult challenge to take on. I'm not quite sure what to do. I'll tell you why. It's because of the recent challenges and how it's left me. It really shook me up. It really shook me and said, look, wake up, Andreas, wake up. Slapped me around the face a few times, and I've been like, yeah, I'm awake, but I'm like really scared. I'm really petrified. And on top of that, where I woke up to was a remembering of that prophetic dream I had, and seeing myself very cold, and actually connecting to it, seeing that I could almost live there for the first time. In a way, it was a relief. I won't go into the details, but coming back to it now, where I'm not so connected, it's not so much of a relief. Because the gap is bigger from where I am to where I saw myself then. So what I'm thinking is that if I've got to go, if I'm going to end up being that energy, I think I'm going to have to lie to myself. And that is, my life isn't working, my philosophy isn't working. It's just too much. And I think I'm going to have to program myself with a previous positive mindset that I had that worked, and see if I can lie to myself, lie my way through it. I'll talk you through it. It goes, I see and accept the reality of my life. So in other words, life is shit, life is hard, life is difficult. Accept it, get over it. That's what that's saying. The next part is, so I see and accept the reality of my life. Everything is pain, and I don't hold to the pain. Self-explanatory. Life is pain, but you let it go, and you're not attached to the pain like I have been. And I'll explain why I'm not able to connect to this positive mindset that worked for me before. Everything is pain, and I don't hold to the pain. So you're aware, like, I'm in pain, I'm in hurting, but you don't try and hold to it on an emotional level. You don't try to hold it onto it as a source of power and strength. The last bit goes, because it could always get worse. In other words, be grateful for what I have now, no matter how bad it looks. And out of all three, it's the last one that's been the easiest for me. in the present moment. But without the first two, it's not really had the same oomph. And it's been like having what are they called, the swimming floats, when you're lost at sea and it's a flipping gigantic storm. It's not going to really do much. But the first two give you a boat. But my storm right now is bigger than the boat I have. So I see life as being very unjust, very unfair, very confusing to the level and extent of its unfairness. Now, let's create another analogy, since it's all about analogies recently, and let's put that unfairness in a more simplified example. Say I was a 35-year-old woman and she's in an abusive relationship. He basically demands sex for first, demands her to cook, clean the house, be a slave to him. And she's a woman. She's weak physically to a man. There's nothing she can do. She feels disempowered. He controls the finances because he works. She doesn't want to burden her friends and family with her problems. She's alone with her problem. Life is unjust. Now, no way am I saying I'm being beaten or raped or blah, 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 but what I'm saying is let's just see it in simplicity. Someone has an unjust life. In honesty, how are they going to accept it? How are they going to accept their life? She's a slave. She's there 7 days a week, 365 a year. There's no life. What's the life for her? To pick up a book on meditation and realise that she's free in every single moment? That's fine, but for myself it's like, it would be to have the reasoning of why it's happening. If I had a why, to take responsibility back for myself, without it being airy-fairy like karma, like, when I was a kid I had that boyfriend and I treated him badly. Yeah, that's fine to say that, but it's not quite in balance, the actions. And to say it's from a past life, it's a bit like, well, yeah, I don't really remember it now. And if it's from a past life, it was a different body, how much am I really able to connect to that to gain any sense of peace? And it's that confusion, that's where I am. Why is this happening? And I tried to raise my awareness. And as far as I've got is that the past year has just been me, the same Andreas, doing the same thing that I've done since I was 20, and that's try to change the world, try to save the world, try to be there for the world. And the last year has, with the videos, talking about spirituality, talking about problems, shouting at you or trying to motivate you or inspire you or make you feel bad into action. I don't know what else to do. I haven't got anything else. You know, I can't start a business anymore with my mental health. I can't really put myself there on a public stage. I can't do much. I'm really disabled to myself, to my life. And what you got last year for the last year, was the best I could do. And life recently, I've tried to take a message from it. All the constant bombardment and the constant recent challenges, and it's like, the best I could do was say, look, Andreas, this is the message I could take from life. You keep complaining about the world. You keep complaining about Africa. I always talk about Africa and how fucked up it is. I've got reasons, you know. I'm scarred from a child on seeing on TV the adverts asking for money and the famine. It's scarred me for life. And if there's one thing I'm going to keep coming back to, it's that above everything else. I mean, Hotel Rwanda as well is another injustice that stays with me, both Africa. That's why I keep referencing Africa. I'm not trying to be racist, I'm not trying to stigmatise, it's just for myself, for my own mind, that's where I'm stuck at, that's where I feel like there's work to be done. And what's happened is recently, I've been beaten, literally, well, I won't say literally, but life has beaten the living hell out of me. And it's confused me as to the extent of why I'm experiencing what I'm experiencing. Really confused me. It's like I said, this was the world, this is the rules, and it was like, we're writing those off, those aren't the rules anymore, these are the new rules. And then the best I could do was to see those new rules applied to me that made me feel like this to that. So I was here, Andreas, living in London, in the first world, and one of the richest countries in the world, and one of the top cities in the world, multicultural metropolis, streets laid paved with gold. I've got this asset, I've got that asset, I've got that other asset, I've got my ego. And then life came and went bang. I went from this to that. My life went from being a macrocosm to a microcosm, but inverted. So it was like, before I was here and I saw the world here. Like I'm here, the world's here. I'm here, the world's here. I live my life here and talk about the world here as if it's over there. Because that's the way it was. That's the way I've been speaking. And all of a sudden it was like, the experience of the recent past was like, it ain't never going to be that way. I'm never going to be able to compare my life to the things I've seen on TV that scar me, to films, and anyway, my life is never going to be that bad. But it was like, all of a sudden, it was like seeing my life if I see it from this perspective instead of this perspective, I get a better perception of the world, of reality. And I'm really struggling because I guess that's it. I guess that's exactly the fuck it. How can I claim to see the reality of my life when I can't be real with the world, man? And I'm struggling to comprehend the recent happenings. And I think that's it, man. It's that simple. What I know is that my life at the moment is a wish-wash of different emotions and pains, and I'm lost, and I've been lost for the last year. And I don't have answers for it. I don't have categoric answers as to why I've been put through what I've been put through. But what I know is we're not meant to feel sorry for ourselves as human beings. And I drew the line. I said, yeah, that's fine. How am I meant to not feel sorry for myself when it's pure madness? And I'm still there, you know, I'm still at that point. But what I know is that previous positive mindset. I see and accept the reality of my life, and I say it and I mean it. And then everything is pain, but I don't hold to the pain, because it can always get worse. It's an element of freedom. It was freeing. To the suffering. Now I've got a choice, because I'm going around in merry-go-rounds at the moment. And I can't accept the past year. I can't accept it. My belief is that we don't need to suffer as human beings, and I believe there's powers out there that are more than capable to put things right for us, be it on a spiritual level, be it on an alien level, be it on a secret governmental agency level, whatever level. I believe there's more than enough powers out there to put things right for the whole of the planet, and we don't need to suffer. I also believe we have the power of communication, verbal language, to put things very simplistically. And that, beyond what I just said, is what it comes down to for me. Because if someone has sat me down and said, look, Andreas, you've got to where you've got to, and what you're saying is half true, or it's partially true, or it's a lie, or whatever. But what you need to remember, and you need to remember this, is that is a reality. And it's a reality we all have to live by. Now, you're backed into a corner now. You can't do anything anymore for the world. You're not doing anything more for the world. You're weak, you're disabled, you're mentally ill. So now you've got to surrender and live within that reality and try and be as human as possible at all times. How are you going to go to the shops and purchase your food remembering that? Because you still got to go to the shops and purchase your food, but you've got to be human now. And if you've got to take on guilt, if you've got to take on shame, if you've got to take on all of those things because you're remembering the reality of where you are, you begin to realize that you're as much of a slave, and you begin to see your own picture until every human is free. And I'm sorry, but their suffering, and I'll just keep it simplistic, and we'll say Africa for now, but it applies to all the different sufferings in the world. Their suffering is as a result of our society, our way of life. This is an unnatural way of life. And unfortunately, there's not much we can do to get beyond this life, is there? What are we going to do? Go and live in the forest? I try to do that. You get sectioned real quick. And that laugh, that smile, that smirk, I want to punch myself. I didn't try and live in the forest, but I tried to run away. I went camping in the forest. But if you try and go and live in the forest, you get questions. You can't do that. We're born, we conform. And that, in our conformality, in our paying of taxes, it all goes to the production of arms. Those production of arms go to wars, they go to death, they go to murder. Think about it next time you go and buy a pint of milk at the shops. What's that 20p going to? I think what I'm trying to do now is say it to myself in my mind to see if it applies. See where I am on an emotional mental with that positive mindset. So if you give me 30 seconds a minute, I'll come back to you with what I can see. All I can think is I've got to go slow. I've got to rejig my disability London with a mental health disorder, with the level of pressure of being in the first world with the privileges that I have. So every decision being a case of we're born slaves to each other, every single human. My life is every other single human's life. And for me, those pictures as a child scar me more than anything else that I've seen. The torment that happened in the film Hotel Rwanda, I can't imagine living through. The ridiculousness of the situation, of the money that's poured into Rwanda trying to concrete over of the past since is a joke. So that what? We can all have an Olympic Games this year when there's a pandemic out there, so that we can all develop new vaccines and the different companies can profit off them, instead of really asking ourselves what's going on and what can we do to get over this. And maybe is our society that and way of life that is contributing to these problems, or is it Or is it something else? And if it is whatever it is, what's the best way to deal with it for humans? Not for a corporation, not for money, but for humans. Because I don't believe sticking a load of chemicals in our body is the answer. I'm certain there must be natural remedies out there. Or if not, they can be synthesized from natural sources to make a lovely herbal tea that would remedy the coronavirus. And apparently, the West have got more vaccines stockpiled than they need. How many people are going to take more than one vaccine? And I'm petrified of it, I'm totally anti-vaccines. I'm totally anti-medication, but what happens if they start forcing people? It becomes mandatory that you have to take a vaccine. That's what's in the back of my mind, and I'm living in fear. But then, kind of highlights as lockdown. It's just not possible. We live in such unnatural environments. We're human beings. We're designed to move. There's got to be a limit on it, before other questions are asked of like, okay, well, this isn't working. We've been in lockdown pretty much for the last year, minus a few months. We can't ask people of this anymore. I suppose we are in a bit easier place having Brexit now and being a bit freer to make our own decisions, but think about the European Union. They've got to manage how many different countries, how many different nationalities, different cultures, different everything, to start saying, right, we've got to think about food banks for everybody, and then we've got to think about, what if we're doing food banks, what food do we give? Because if we go along with the World Health Organization that's corrupt, and we know it's corrupt, I can't believe anybody at the top must know that the World Health Organization is but a propaganda machine to help people feel safe, because the recommendations they give sometimes are just absurd to what I hear people who have done research and done the work. They're just so contradictory on so many occasions. I haven't done my own research enough, if I'm honest. But this thing about 5 a day and blanking it out there for all of the people, surely we've all got different body types, we all have different requirements, we all live different lives. 5 a day, what is that? Why would that information ever be put out there? I mean, it's so annoying that governments must be working on the perception of psychosomatic behaviour. Let's put this out there so that it's an achievable goal for people. 5 fruit and veg a day, even if they could have the most worst sugary fruit 5 times a day, and that's enough. So it's a very... We've gone to a point, I think, where governments are trying to manage too big an area. And messages need to be put out there so people are aware, but I think it's going to help, because if nothing more, repeating that positive mindset will probably likely put me in that place where I saw myself cold. And the fear I get from that vision of me so cold is enough to make my hair fall out. So I might as well be proactive and get myself there on the doubles, because when I connected with it for the first time, I was like, finally I'm here. All right, I'll just stay here, let's let the fear stop. Doesn't matter. We're all human. We can all appreciate whatever work we're given to do. We can all appreciate richness, we can all appreciate poorness. I think it's going to take a little while for this to sink in and really get clear on how it correlates to my immediate life, because that's what I'm thinking, right? Change stuff. How do I change? What's the physical thing? All I'm thinking is, can I tell myself enough of a lie to accept this as truth so I can let go of the recent trauma? What do I need to think? What do I need to do? What do I need to feel so I can let go of that recent trauma that is just in my body and stopping me from breathing? And that'll probably help the depression that I was complaining about earlier. That'll probably help so many things. It might be that I'm going to lie to myself, I think, for the first time. Just tell myself I don't know why my life is taken the course that it's taken. It's confusing. I see it as wrong and unjust. And the best I can do is to see it really helping me to connect, because I can't say I'm in any way in a similar place, but to connect with it, just to connect to being like that woman that we gave the analogy of, where life is unfair. Just to keep it simply as that, because for those people in Hotel Rwanda, for those children that I saw on TV as a child, you tell them there's no way that's fair. Life is unfair, and that's life isn't impeccable with fairness in the immediate. Life has a buffer, and life will balance it out undoubtedly with karma, but that takes time, and in that time suffering can occur. So just see my life as unfair and know the best that I can do is say right now, so the best that I can understand life is that it's trying to tell me this. Life is unfair. Get over it. But see, where I am is just like, if I start to implement the lie, it's not even a lie, it's being truthful, but it's a bit wishy-washy to make such a life-changing decision on. Why wouldn't I stay strong? To the suffering, the discomforts where I am. I'd want to see life change again. I'd want to see life come back into balance again. To the level of understanding we have here in a logical mind of what it means to live where I'm living, so I can function appropriately. It's weird because my mental health, I know it's ruthless, and I know my mental health wouldn't slip up to stab me in the back, to make me suffer at any little slip up I make. That's my general feeling to my mental health. But to see it come from a societal level, a very real practical life level, on the outside, it's a shock. And I know spirituality is real now. So do I say to myself, right, spirituality is real, spirituality is out there. And that was spirituality giving me a slap in the face to say, look, this is happening. Like that TV advert says, this is happening. I'm real, and I'm giving you one big slap in the face to make you real. Get over it. And I can do that, but it just comes back to functioning. As long as the outside is what I'm seeing, I'll give you paint you a picture of what I'm having to see. I'm seeing a world where it's dog eat dog. It's really survivalist. It's bringing that, as much of that pain and the suffering from these places in the world that truly do suffer, and as much of it to here, for our humanity as human beings, because we still have to stay sane. Even if we are the cause on one level, we still have to stay sane, and we have to really connect. What the fuck are we doing, man? Why is this society so important that we're all playing these games? I can't accept it. I can't accept that you're all in the same boat. So I have to look at it that I'm alone in this. You've all gone mad to the sickness that we're born into. To the nth degree. You're all mad. Not because you're mad, just because that's the situation. Like me with my mental health, I'm ill. I'm mad. There's no way you can live in this life and tell me that you're connecting to the suffering of the world, trying to connect to it, because we can't truly embody it, but just to keep ourselves on track and just live normal lives. We have to be doing something on a world level, on the outside too. So I've lost you all again. But for myself, I think I've got to start implementing it. Man, it's a fucked up world. I just want to recap one more time. I don't want to leave it there and not and I think the gutting thing is, on an emotional level, that's it. I'm done now. The truth of the situation is, even if I can raise myself to take on that level of understanding that this is the world, people are suffering, connect as much as you can to those who are truly suffering, and bring that into every decision you make in your life. I also have to die on an emotional level to what the beating that's got me there, because I'm able to heal it. So I'm moving forward a scarred individual, a weak individual. The truth is, I've spoken to myself now for an hour, and I don't know what the answer is. All I know is that it's a bit wrong every which way I look at it. I'm fucked up either way. It's just one way. I feel like life is pushing me towards, and that's the difference. I've stopped and I've said, look, this is madness. What is life trying to ask of me? and it's just to be real with the suffering. And I think I just have to make a decision either way of how I'll deal with the suffering. Am I truly real with it and allow myself to be here and let my life get ripped apart around me because I literally, in absolute truth, can't do a thing. I am that disabled, I am that traumatized, and that is by my own life here. Because I have to get up and I have to go to work and I have to live in the same society, and that society has certain rules. Despite its sickness, I have to operate within them. Or do I go the other way? And try to claim a connection to other human beings for my own humanity, even though in that humanity it's a bit of a joke that I'm causing their problem. My spending of money, my spending of not standing up for right and wrong within this sick world. It's a total sickness. So it's a contradiction there. I didn't rejig it like I'd hoped for. I purposely allowed myself to speak for as long as I needed or wanted, but I might wrap this up because I'm not getting anywhere with it right now. I guess that's it. Another time. Bye.